Shalom, brothers and sisters in Yahweh. Welcome. It's time to continue our journey through Jubilees. And tonight we'll be studying Jubilees 28, 29, and 30. So if you've got a Dead Sea Scrolls book, go ahead and grab it and open up to Jubilees chapter 28. And we'll get started tonight. Hope everybody's doing good, had a good weekend, all refreshed and ready to go. Yeah, new week. All right. Well, go ahead and grab something to drink, and we'll get started. I'm going to take a sip off my coffee. Wet my whistle a little bit. All right, gang. Ready? Let's go. Jubilees, chapter 28. He went on his journey and came to the land of the east, to Laban, the brother of Rebekah, and he was with him. And Jacob served Laban for Rachel his daughter 1 week of years. In the first year of the 3rd week of years, he said to him, "Give me my wife, for whom I have served you 7 years. And Laban said to Jacob, I will give you your wife. Laban made a feast, and took Leah, his elder daughter, and gave her to Jacob as a wife, and gave Leah Zilpah for a handmaid. And Jacob did not know, for he thought that it was Rachel. He went in to her, and saw she was Leah. And Jacob was angry with Laban, and said to him, Why have you done this to me? Did I not serve you for Rachel, and not for Leah? Why have you wronged me? Take your daughter, and I will go. You have done evil to me. For Jacob loved Rachel more than Leah, because Leah's eyes were weak, but her form was very beautiful. Rachel had beautiful eyes, and a beautiful and very voluptuous form. Laban said to Jacob, It is not done that way in our country. We do not give the younger before the elder, and it is not right to do this. For thus it is ordained and written in the heavenly tablets, that no one should give his younger daughter before the elder, but the elder one is given first, and after her the younger. The man who does so will have guilt placed against him in heaven, and none is righteous that does this thing, for this deed is evil before Yahweh." Okay? So Leah was meant to be hooked up with Esau. But that didn't happen, because Esau decided to get knee-deep in heathen women. So Jacob is going to have to take Leah first. Verse 7, Command the children of Israel that they do not do this thing. Let them neither take nor give the younger before they have given the elder, for it is very wicked. And Laban said to Jacob, Let the 7 days of the feast pass by, and I shall give you Rachel, that you may serve me another 7 years, that you may pasture my sheep, as you did in the former weeks. On the day when the 7 days of the feast of Leah had passed, Laban gave Rachel to Jacob, that he might serve him another 7 years, and he gave Rachel Bilhah, the sister of Zilpah, as a handmaid. He served yet other 7 years for Rachel, for Leah had been given to him for nothing, since it was Rachel he wanted. And Yahweh opened the womb of Leah, and she conceived and gave birth to a son for Jacob, and he called his name Reuben. On the 14th day of the 9th month, in the 1st year of the 3rd week. But the womb of Rachel was closed, for Yahweh saw that Leah was hated, and Rachel loved. Again Jacob went into Leah, and she conceived, and gave birth to a second son for Jacob, and he called his name Simon. On the 21st of the 10th month, and in the 3rd year of this week. Again Jacob went in to Leah, and she conceived, and gave birth to a third son, and he called his name Levi, in the new moon of the first month, in the 6th year of this week. Now that's interesting, the new moon of the first month. So it was right before Passover. That's interesting that Levi would be born right before the Pesach. All right, verse 15. Again Jacob went into her, and she conceived, and gave birth to a fourth son, and he called his name Judah, on the 15th of the 3rd month, in the 1st year of the 4th week. Because of all this, Rachel envied Leah, for she did not bear a child. And she said to Jacob, "Give me children." And Jacob said, "Have I withheld from you the fruit of your womb? Have I left you?" And when Rachel saw that Leah had given birth to 4 sons to Jacob, Reuben and Simon and Levi and Judah, she said to him, "Go into Bilhah, my handmaid, and she will conceive and bear a son from me." She gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and he went into her, and she conceived, and gave birth to a son, and he called his name Dan, on the 9th of the 6th month, in the 6th year of the 3rd week. Jacob went in again to Bilhah a second time, and she conceived, and gave birth to another son for Jacob, and Rachel called his name Naphtali. On the 5th of the 7th month, in the 2nd year of the 4th week. When Leah saw that she had become sterile, and could no longer have children, she envied Rachel, and she also gave her husband Zilpah to Jacob to wife. And she conceived, and gave birth to a son, and Leah called his name Gad, on the 12th of the 8th month, in the 3rd year of the 4th week. He went in to her again, and she conceived, and gave birth to a second son, and Leah called his name Asher, on the 2nd of the 11th month, in the 5th year of the 4th week. Jacob went in to Leah, and she conceived, and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Issachar, on the 4th of the 5th month, in the 4th year of the 4th week, and she gave him to a nurse. Jacob went in again to her, and she conceived, and gave birth to 2 children, a son and a daughter, and she called the name of the son Zebulun, and the name of the daughter Dinah, in the 7th day of the 7th month, in the 6th year of the 4th week. Now that's interesting, because in the Bible it doesn't mention that Zebulun and Dinah were twins. So we see something a little different there, huh? Verse 24. Yahweh was gracious to Rachel, and opened her womb, and she conceived, and gave birth to a son, and she called his name Joseph, on the new moon of the 4th month, in the 6th year, in the 4th week. In the days when Joseph was born, Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wives and sons, and let me go to my father Isaac, and let me make household for myself. For I have completed the years in which I have served you for your 2 daughters, and I will go to the house of my father." Laban said to Jacob, "Stay with me, and I will pay your wages, and pasture my flock for me again, and take your wages." They agreed with one another that he should give him as his wages those of the lambs and kids which were born spotted black and white. These were to be his wages. All the sheep brought out, spotted and speckled and black, variously marked, and they brought out again lambs like themselves. And all that were spotted were Jacob's, and those which were not spotted were Laban's. Jacob's possessions multiplied greatly, and he possessed oxen and sheep and donkeys and camels and men servants and maidservants. Laban and his sons envied Jacob, And Laban took back his sheep from him, and he envied him and watched him for an opportunity to do evil. Chapter 29. It happened when Rachel had given birth to Joseph, that Laban went to shear his sheep, for they were distant from him, a 3-day journey. Jacob saw that Laban was going to shear his sheep, and Jacob called Leah and Rachel, and spoke sweetly to them in order to convince them to come with him to the land of Canaan. For he told them how he had seen everything in a dream, and that Yahweh had spoken to him that he should return to his father's house. And they said, "To every place where you go, we will go with you." Jacob blessed the Elohim of Isaac his father, and the Elohim of Abraham his father's father. And he arose and placed his wives and his children on donkeys, and took all his possessions, and crossed the river, and came to the land of Gilead. And Jacob hid his intentions from Laban, and did not tell him. In the 7th year of the 4th week, Jacob turned his face toward Gilead, in the 1st month, on the 21st of it. Okay, so the 1st month of the 4th week. Okay, so it's, yeah, okay, I get it. The 1st month of the 4th week. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to understand where we're at in the timeline because of how it's kept track of. But you can figure it out. It's if you know how it's done. Alright, verse 6. Laban pursued and overtook Jacob in the mountain of Gilead in the 3rd month, on the 13th of it. And the Elohim did not permit him to inquire Jacob, for he appeared to him in a dream by night. Laban spoke to Jacob on the 15th of those days. Jacob made a feast for Laban, and for all who came with him. And Jacob swore to Laban that day. Laban also swore to Jacob that neither should cross the mountain of Gilead to do evil to the other. He made a heap of stones for a witness there, wherefore the name of that place is called the heap of witness, after this heap. But before they used to call the land of Gilead the land of Rephaim. The Rephaim were born giants, whose height was 10, 9, 8, down to 7 cubits. Their dwelling place was from the land of the children of Ammon to Mount Hermon, and the seats of their kingdom were Karnaim, and Ashtaroth, and Edrael, and Misur, and Baon. The Elohim destroyed them because of the evil of their deeds, for they were malevolent, and the Amorites were wicked and sinful. There is no people today which has committed the full range of their sins, and their life on the earth was shortened. Jacob sent Laban away, and he departed into Mesopotamia, the land of the east, and Jacob returned to the land of Gilead. He passed over the Jabbok in the 9th month, on the 11th of it. On that day Esau his brother came to him, and he was reconciled to him, and departed from him to the land of Seir. But Jacob dwelt in tents. In the 1st year of the 5th week, in this Jubilee he crossed the Jordan, and dwelt beyond the Jordan. He pastured his sheep from the sea of the heap to Beth-shan, and to Dothan, and to the forest of Akrabim. He sent his father Isaac all his possessions, such as clothing and food, and meat and drink, and milk and butter and cheese, and some dates of the valley. 4 times a year he sent gifts to his mother Rebekah, who was living at the Tower of Abraham. He sent the gifts between the times of the months between plowing and reaping, and between autumn and the rain season, and between winter and spring. For Isaac had returned from the well of the oath, and gone up to the tower of his father Abraham, and he dwelt there apart from his son Esau. For in the days when Jacob went to Mesopotamia, Esau took to himself a wife, Mahalath, the daughter of Ishmael. And he gathered together all the flocks of his father and his wives, and went up to dwell on Mount Seir, and left Isaac his father at the well of the oath alone. And Isaac went up from the well of the oath, and dwelt in the tower of Abraham his father on the mountains of Hebron. And that is where Jacob sent all that he did send to his father and his mother from time to time, all they needed. And they blessed Jacob with all their heart and with all their soul. Chapter 30. In the first year of the 6th week, he went up to Salem, to the east of Shechem, in the 4th month. And he went in peace. Shechem, the son of Hamor, the Hivite, the prince of the land, carried off Dinah, the daughter of Jacob, into the house, and he had sex with her, and defiled her. She was a little girl, a child of 12 years. Oh boy, pedophile, wonderful. He begged his father and her brothers that she might be given to him as a wife. Jacob and his sons were very angry because the men of Shechem, for they had defiled Dinah, their sister. They spoke to them while planning evil acts, and they dealt deceitfully with them and tricked them. Simon and Levi came unexpectedly to Shechem and executed judgment on all the men of Shechem and killed all the men whom they found in it. They did not leave a single one remaining in it. They killed all in hand-to-hand battle because they had dishonored their sister Dinah. It doesn't go into detail about all that, doesn't it? About how they convinced them that they all needed to be circumcised, and as soon as they were circumcised on the 3rd day, they went in there when they were their weakest, and yeah, it doesn't go into all that, does it? Verse 5, let it not again be done from now on that a daughter of Israel be defiled. Judgment is ordained in heaven against them, that they should destroy all the men of the Shechemites with the sword, because they had committed shame in Israel. The Elohim delivered them into the hands of the sons of Jacob, that they might exterminate them with the sword and execute judgment on them, that it might not again be done in Israel, that a virgin of Israel should be defiled. If there is any man in Israel who wishes to give his daughter or his sister to any man who is of the offspring of the Gentiles, he shall surely die. They shall stone him, for he has committed shame in Israel. They shall burn the woman with fire, because she has dishonored the name of the house of her father, and she shall be rooted out of Israel. Now there's some legalism for you, isn't there? Because I don't remember hearing about any of that in the Bible. Do not let an adulteress, and let no uncleanness be found in Israel through all the days of the generations of the earth. For Israel is holy to the Elohim, and every man who has defiled it shall surely die. They shall stone him. Now we know that the genealogies, the bloodlines are important. Okay? It does talk about all of that, and it talks about how we're not supposed to how the children of Israel were not supposed to mate, to blend with the children of the land, the nations. That's why Isaac and Jacob went to Uncle Laban's to pick up wives, so that they wouldn't pick up Canaanite wives. No heathens in the bloodline. But Ishmael didn't go along with that. Okay, verse 9. For it has been ordained and written in the heavenly tablets regarding all the offspring of Israel, he who defiles it shall surely die. He shall be killed by stoning. There is no limit of days for this law. There is no remission and no atonement. The man who has defiled his daughter shall be rooted out from every corner of all Israel, because he has given off given of his offspring to Moloch. And it's got in parentheses here, a pagan god, the worship of which involved burning the child alive. Yeah, let's talk about abortion for a minute. Okay, and committed impurity and defiled his child. Verse 11. Moshe commanded the children of Israel and exhort them not to give their daughters to the Gentiles and not to take for their sons any of the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is abominable before the Elohim. Okay, well, we know that that's happened. We read about that in the Bible. Verse 12, it is because of this that I have written all the deeds of the Shechemites, which they committed against Dinah, and placed them in the words of the law for you. I have also written how the sons of Jacob spoke, saying, we will not give our daughter to a man who is uncircumcised, for that is a reproach to us. It is a reproach to Israel that anyone take the daughters of the Gentiles, for this is unclean and abominable to Israel. Israel will not be free from this uncleanness if it has a wife of the daughters of the Gentiles, or has given any of its daughters to a man who is of any of the Gentiles. Bloodlines. Verse 15, there will be a plague upon plague, and curse upon curse, and every judgment and plague and curse will come if he does this thing, or if they ignore those who commit uncleanness, or defile the sanctuary of the Elohim, or those who profane his holy name. If any of these happen, the whole nation together will be judged for all the uncleanness and profanation of this man. Oh, thank Yah that he sent Yehoshua down here to bring us into the tree of life. Without that, things would really be a mess. The Gentiles would be a disaster, and the children of Israel would be a disaster, and everything would be so messed up if it wasn't for Yehoshua shedding his blood to pave us a road for salvation. Praise Yah. Verse 16, there will be no judging people by their position, and no receiving fruits or offerings or burnt offerings or fat or the fragrance of sweet odor from his hand. It will be unacceptable, and so warn every man and woman in Israel who defiles the sanctuary. For this reason I have commanded you, saying, give this testimony to Israel. See how the Shechemites and their sons fared? See how they were delivered into the hands of the two sons of Jacob, and they killed them under torture? It was counted to them for righteousness, and it is written down to them for righteousness. The offspring of Levi were chosen for the priesthood, and to be the Levites, that they be ministers before the Elohim, as we do continually. Levi, his sons, will be blessed forever, for he was zealous to execute righteousness and judgment and vengeance on all those who arose against Israel. You can really see here where they've added two, because, man, it doesn't go into this kind of stuff in the Bible. This is Pharisees adding two. Crazy, huh? You can see it. At least I can. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, let me know. Put it in the comments. Verse 19, so they wrote a testimony in his favor of blessing and righteousness on the heavenly tablets in the presence of the Elohim of all. Remember the righteousness that the man fulfilled during his life throughout the years, until 1,000 generations they will record it. It will come to him and to his descendants after him, and he has been recorded on the heavenly tablets as a friend and a righteous man. All this account I have written for you, and have commanded you to tell the children of Israel, so that they will not commit sin nor transgress the law, nor break the covenant which has been ordained for them. They should fulfill it and be recorded as friends of Yahweh. But if they transgress and work uncleanness in any way, they will be recorded on the heavenly tablets as adversaries of Yahweh, and they will be blotted out of the book of life. Instead, they will be recorded in the book of those who will be destroyed, and with those who will be rooted out of the earth. On the day when the sons of Jacob killed Shechem, it was written in the record in their favor in heaven that they had executed righteousness and uprightness and vengeance on the sinners, and it was written for a blessing. They brought Dinah, their sister, out of the house of Shechem. They took everything that was in Shechem captive. They took their sheep, and their oxen, and their donkeys, and all their wealth, and all their flocks, and brought them all to Jacob their father. He reproached them because they had put the city to the sword, for he feared those who dwelt in the land, the Canaanites and the Perizzites. The dread of the Elohim was on all the cities that are near Shechem. They did not fight or chase after the sons of Jacob, for the terror had fallen on them. The Bible reads a little bit different, doesn't it? It reads that Jacob wasn't exactly pleased with anything that they did, and it doesn't mention the fact that Jacob was extremely upset. It just talks about how Simon and Levi made a deal where everybody was supposed to be circumcised. Everyone was circumcised, all of them. 300 men were circumcised. And 3 days after the circumcision, then Simon and Levi went in there and butchered them all. This goes into a little bit different story. It gives you a little different aspect and some legalism, because it really foot stomps on the fact that the children of Israel are not supposed to cross the bloodlines. It's interesting, very interesting, how there's things that are different, but they're the same. Interesting read, huh? Well, I hope y'all got something good out of that, and I hope that y'all are learning and you're seeking discernment from Yahweh on what is and what isn't, and enjoying this study. It's a good study. It shows a lot of things, and it's all based on the fact that Moshe is sitting up on Mount Sinai with an angel who's dictating to him all of this. Kind of interesting. A little different, huh? Okay. Well, that's all I got for you tonight, gang. I hope you enjoyed the study. I hope that you're getting something out of it. And I will see you all on Wednesday for our midweek Bible study. Y'all have a great night, and we'll see you then. Shalom.